You did it again. You opened an app, scrolled for maybe 30 seconds, and suddenly felt worse about your life than you did before. Someone posted a promotion. Someone else just bought a house. Another person is on a beach somewhere, golden hour light, cocktail in hand, looking like they have never once felt the particular ache you are feeling right now. And the strangest part is that nothing in your life actually changed. You were fine a minute ago. So why do you feel like you are losing? The answer is not a character flaw. It is not weakness. It is not something therapy invented a name for and charged you money to understand. It is written into the architecture of your brain before language existed, before money existed, before the concept of a career could even form in a human mind. You compare yourself to others because your ancestors who did not compare themselves to others are not your ancestors. Let that settle. Social comparison is not a bad habit you picked up. It is a survival technology. It is one of the oldest and most sophisticated tools your brain runs automatically every single day without asking your permission. And to understand why it will not turn off, you have to go back to a world where turning it off would have killed you. Imagine a band of 30 humans. No cities, no currency, no ladder to climb in any abstract sense. Just a group of people who depend on each other entirely for survival. In that world, your position within the group is not a matter of pride. It is a matter of life and death. If you ranked high in the group, you ate first. You mated. You were protected when the group moved through dangerous territory. If you ranked low, you got what was left. You were the last to be defended. You were the first to be left behind when things got hard. Psychologist Leon Festinger formalized this in 1954 with what he called social comparison theory. His argument was deceptively simple. Humans have a fundamental drive to evaluate their own opinions and abilities, and in the absence of objective standards, they do it by measuring themselves against other people. But Festinger was describing the modern mechanism. The deeper root is older than any theory. Your brain monitors your social position the same way it monitors your body temperature, constantly, without effort. Because for most of human history, the two things were equally important to your survival. When researchers at the California Institute of Technology used brain imaging to study social comparison in real time, they found that perceived drops in social rank activated the same neural circuits as physical pain. Not metaphorical pain. Actual pain, processing regions of the brain lighting up because someone else appeared to be doing better than you. Think about what that means. Your brain cannot easily distinguish between the sensation of being outranked and the sensation of being hurt. It treats them as versions of the same threat. This is why you cannot just decide to stop caring. It would be like deciding not to feel heat when you touch a flame. The signal is not optional. It is a warning system that evolved across hundreds of thousands of years, and it is still running in a world that looks nothing like the one it was designed for. Here is where it gets stranger. Your brain does not compare you to everyone. It never did. Back in that small band of 30 people, comparing yourself to a stranger in a distant group served no practical purpose. You could not affect their status. They could not affect yours. The only comparisons that mattered were the ones within your immediate circle. Evolutionary psychologist Robin Dunbar spent decades studying the social structures of primates and early human groups. His research suggested that the human brain evolved to track and manage relationships with roughly 150 people at once. This became known as Dunbar's number. It represents the cognitive upper limit of the group your ancestors actually lived inside. Within that group, every status signal mattered. Who caught more food? Who formed alliances with whom? Who had access to better resources? Tracking all of that, processing it, updating your understanding of where you stood, that was a full-time cognitive job. And your brain was built to do it automatically. Now look at what happened. You woke up this morning with a device in your hand that gives you real-time access to the curated highlight reels of thousands of people simultaneously. Your comparison engine, which evolved to scan a group of 150 people for survival-relevant status signals, is now being fed thousands of data points per hour. And because the highlights are what people share, every signal your brain receives is a status signal pointing upward. The engine has not changed. The feed has. Researcher Sherry Turkle at MIT has spent years studying what constant connectivity does to the human sense of self. One of her consistent findings is that people do not feel envious of strangers the way they feel envious of people they actually know. The emotional charge is highest when the person gaining is someone close to you, your colleague, your old classmate, your cousin, and that tracks perfectly with how the system was designed to work. Your ancient brain treats your social media connections the way it once treated your band. These are the people whose position relative to yours actually registers as meaningful. And when they appear to move ahead, the alarm goes off. Here is what nobody tells you about that alarm. It is not trying to make you miserable. It is trying to make you move. In a world where status was directly tied to survival, the pain of being outranked was motivational. It pushed you to try harder, to form new alliances, to find a way back up the hierarchy. The discomfort you feel was never meant to be an endpoint. It was meant to be a starting gun. The problem is that in the modern world, the race has no finish line. There is always another post, always someone further ahead. The starting gun fires hundreds of times a day, and there is nowhere clear to run. Neuroscientist Emiliana Simon Thomas at the Greater Good Science Center has studied what happens in the brain during upward social comparison, when you see someone doing better than you, versus downward social comparison, when you see someone doing worse. Upward comparison, the kind that social media is almost entirely built on, consistently triggers threat responses. Downward comparison, by contrast, triggers relief, not pride. Not satisfaction, just the temporary easing of a pressure that never fully goes away. Your brain is running a status calculation every waking hour, and in modern life, you have engineered a world where that calculation almost always returns the same answer. You are behind. But here is the counterintuitive twist. The people at the top of the hierarchy did not escape this. Research consistently shows that the experience of social comparison does not diminish as you gain more. If anything, it intensifies. Because the higher your position, the more people you have to monitor and the more you have to lose. Studies of executives, elite athletes, and high-earning professionals show the same anxiety, the same scanning, the same hypervigilance around status signals. The system does not reward the winners with peace. It was never designed to. It was designed to keep everyone moving, to keep the entire group dynamic and responsive. A species where even the most successful individuals kept scanning for threats and opportunities was a species that adapted quickly, held together its social structure, and survived. You are the descendant of every human who kept scanning. So the next time you open your phone and feel that old familiar weight settle in, the sense that everyone else is further along, doing better, living something larger than you, try to hear what is actually happening. That is not your failure speaking. That is 300,000 years of survival software running exactly as intended, in a world it was never meant to see. You were not designed to feel like you are enough. You were designed to keep going. And for most of human history, that distinction kept you alive.